WIS-TV 10, Columbia. South Carolina's television news leader, WIS-TV, presents another in a series of news specials. Part of our Southern heritage, WIS-TV 10, Columbia. South Carolina's news leader, WIS-TV, presents the 7 o'clock report.
As over 100 of the state's remaining 121 midwives filed into the Sims Building auditorium. They began the observance with a song, a spiritual symbolizing their faith and their commitment to mankind. Midwifery, according to Dr. Hilla Sheriff, is as old as the state of South Carolina itself. During the early 1900s, there were as many as 5,000 midwives who delivered over 80% of the babies in the state. In 1920, the State Board of Health began licensing midwives, and for decades afterwards, the midwives would gather every 4 years for a 2-week institute to refresh their skills. Today, they are supervised by health department nurses. 24 of the active midwives are 72 or older. And as these practitioners retire, their duties are being assumed by nurse midwives and physicians. No more pure midwives will be licensed. Governor James Edwards participated in this celebration by unveiling a portrait of Mrs. Josephine Matthews of Wagner. The portrait of Ma Jo, who is 77 years old, will serve to commemorate this noble profession.
I have delivered the father and the mother, and I'm now delivering their babies. So I have grandchildren. And I enjoyed my work. I've enjoyed it the whole time. But as you know, everything is not pleasant all the time. But I think it takes that to make a go of it.
The midwives are a dying institution. No more will be certified in the state of South Carolina. But for what these women have done, for the role that they've played in our history, they will always be remembered. Daryl Dakers, TV 10 News.
This weekend, a major march is scheduled in Boston. The march is to protest the continuing problems of integration in the Boston schools. Joe Lilly reports.
This Saturday is the anniversary of the Supreme Court's historic Brown versus Board of Education ruling that made separation of the races illegal. Problems continue with efforts to integrate schools in Boston. On the anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education, thousands of marchers will converge on the city. Members of the Columbia NAACP have announced they are going. Field Director Isaac Williams says this march is highly significant because it involves a coalition of many minority groups in the country.
Not since 1963, during the March on Washington, have we been able to amass such a diverse and representative group of people interested in the problems and the plight of minority citizens in this country. So Boston is not only going to signal a show of strength on the part of NAACP and its over 1/2 million members across the country, but Boston will also signal the realignment of those forces that united in the 60s.
Williams says that not only in Boston, but the rest of the country, a coalition of minorities could have a great impact on the upcoming bicentennial elections and have a strong say in the future of this country. Joe Lilly, TV 10 News.
Think you're saving money by putting off car repairs? That rattle in your exhaust system, those worn shocks, or that oil change? Well, that broken hanger could cost you a new exhaust system. Those shocks could cost you a set of tires, and that oil change, an expensive ring job. So have your car serviced where you see this gold Napa hat. Remember NAPA. you'll get top quality parts and this free folder on car maintenance. Because if you think you're saving money by putting off needed repairs, just wait.
Good morning, Miss Christie. How's everything going? Hey, Charlie, on the road. Yes, yes.
For years, banks thought a friendly smile was enough to get your business. Today, most still do. But at SCN, we let you write yourself a loan with Charge a Check. Help you make the most of what you make with a saving strategy, and do a lot more to make things easier in 75. You don't live like it's 1935. Why bank like it's 1935?
There's an old saying that goes something like this: smile and the world smiles with you, cry and you cry alone. Well, today in Union, there were a lot of smiles. Gary Pozick was there and has this report.
During the past 6 months, Union, South Carolina has seen some hard times. A slump in the economy has caused high unemployment. But not today, because today the senior citizens staged a good old time celebration.
The day started out gloomy. The weatherman called for a 100% chance of rain. But that didn't stop the senior citizens as they just moved inside. And inside the armory, the oldsters were having a ball, singing songs, selling handicrafts, and demonstrating skills from years gone by. Many of the participants were up in years, but all were young at heart. Among the activities were a quilting bee, a butter churn, knitting, sewing, and tattering. Much fun and frolic, but for a worthy cause. All of the proceeds from the sale of the craft products goes to support patient activities at local nursing homes and the state hospital. A day of fond memories, recalling days gone by. But not all of the bygone days have been good for Union, especially this past winter. We talked to Union's mayor, James Blackwood, about current economic conditions in Union.
Thankfully, everything has taken a turn. Our plants have started up. I believe we're about 20% unemployment today, and things are looking up.
And even though the senior citizens have had to move inside, it looks like their spirits haven't been dampened.
I'll tell you, these are just beautiful people, beautiful. They not only stay young themselves, but they keep the rest of us young. They have a lot of wisdom about them, a lot of ability, and a lot of talent. You see them here today enjoying themselves. This time tomorrow, they could well be on a chartered bus halfway to Canada. They're really beautiful people, and we love them.
Union Senior Citizens Day, Good Old Times Day celebration is more fun than pitching horseshoes. From Union, for TV 10 News, Gary Pozick reporting.
He didn't do that. Meeting in Columbia, the South Carolina Federation of Music Clubs heard a different sort of recital today. Charlotte Sotilli has that story.
6 students from the Cedar Springs School for the Deaf and Blind came to sing and play music. Learning to play is hard enough for most. For these students, it's even more. They are all blind. You can't read music if you can't see, so you have to learn what you're going to play in Braille. You can't use Braille when your hands are busy on the piano. Complicated classical passages must come from memory. For these students, it does, and very well. It was a moving experience for the audience. These youngsters brought the music from their minds and from their hearts. Charlotte Sotilli, TV 10 News.
Mercury's new Monarch has outsold every new entry from General Motors. And now Lincoln Mercury announces $250 off the regular sticker price on 6 special limited edition Monarchs, 2 and 4 doors, all with new vinyl bench seats and interior trim, as well as standard front disc brakes and steel-belted radios. One model adds automatic transmission, power steering, and AM radio. Another adds to that air conditioning and power brakes. All $250 off sticker price. These Monarchs are arriving soon in limited quantity. Order yours fast.
When you eat Hungry Jack biscuits, you get
big tasting biscuits.
You get big flaky biscuits every time. Hungry Jack biscuits are those big tasting biscuits. And it's big taste you will always find.
Hungry Jack biscuits are what big taste is all about.
Hungry Jack biscuits are those
big tasting biscuits.
Eat up Hungry Jack biscuits.